The galaxy had always been a place of wonder and mystery, but it was also a place of power struggles and hidden agendas. For centuries, the Galactic Council had ruled over countless star systems, making decisions that affected trillions of lives. The Council was made up of representatives from various alien species, each with their own strengths, weaknesses, and secrets. Humanity, though relatively new to the galactic stage, had earned a seat at the table. But being part of the Council didn't mean equality. To many of the older, more established species, humans were still seen as inexperienced and reckless, tolerated only because of their rapid technological advancements. Liam Carter, a human diplomat stationed aboard the Council's central hub, knew this all too well. He had spent years navigating the complex politics of the Council, trying to ensure that humanity's voice was heard. It wasn't easy. Many of the alien delegates dismissed him outright, seeing him as just another representative from a lesser species. But Liam was determined. He believed in humanity's potential and knew that they deserved a fair chance to prove themselves. Little did he know, his determination was about to uncover something that would shake the very foundations of the Council. It started with a routine data transfer. Liam had been reviewing files related to trade agreements between Earth and several alien factions. At first glance, everything seemed normal. Resources were being exchanged, and both parties appeared satisfied. But something felt off. Certain numbers didn't add up, and there were discrepancies in the shipment logs. Curious, Liam dug deeper, using his access to cross-reference the data with other records. What he found shocked him to his core. Hidden beneath layers of encrypted files was evidence of a massive conspiracy. Key resources from Earth, precious metals, rare minerals, even advanced technology, were being siphoned off by a group of corrupt council members. These stolen goods were then funneled into black market operations across the galaxy, enriching the select few while leaving humanity in the dark. The scale of the operation was staggering, and the implications were devastating. Humanity had been exploited, its contributions to the galactic community twisted for personal gain. Liam's heart raced as he pieced together the information. He knew he couldn't keep this to himself. This wasn't just about Earth. It was about justice. If word got out, it could spark chaos within the Council, but staying silent would mean complicity. After hours of careful consideration, Liam decided to act. He copied the files onto a secure drive and began reaching out to trusted allies. One of them was Captain Rachel Morgan, a seasoned officer commanding a human task force stationed nearby. Her ship, the Solace Asterisk, served as a base of operations for humanity's diplomatic efforts. When Liam shared his findings with Rachel, she was equally stunned. "This changes everything," she said, her voice heavy with concern. "If we go public, it'll cause an uproar. But if we don't, we're no better than them." Together, they agreed to bring the matter to President William Grant back on Earth. The president needed to know what was happening, and he needed to decide how humanity would respond. As Liam prepared to send the encrypted files to Earth, he couldn't shake the feeling that he was being watched. The Council hub was a labyrinth of corridors and chambers, filled with beings from dozens of species. Some were allies, others indifferent, and a few openly hostile. Liam glanced over his shoulder, half expecting to see someone following him. Paranoia set in, but he pushed forward. Humanity's future depended on what he did next. Little did Liam know, his actions were about to ignite a firestorm that would ripple across the stars. The Galactic Council, once a symbol of unity and order, was about to face its greatest challenge yet. And at the center of it all stood humanity, demanding not just a voice, but justice. Back on Earth, news of the scandal spread faster than anyone could have imagined. It started with whispers among politicians and military leaders, but within hours, the story broke across global media outlets. Journalists scrambled to piece together the details, and soon, the entire planet knew about the corruption within the Galactic Council. Headlines blared accusations of theft, exploitation, and betrayal. People took to the streets in protest, their voices echoing from New York to Tokyo, from London to Sydney. The message was clear. Humanity would not stand for this injustice. Maria Lopez, a fiery activist from Mexico City, became one of the leading voices in the movement. She had spent years advocating for human rights on Earth, but now her focus shifted to the stars. Standing atop a makeshift stage in the heart of the city, she addressed a sea of angry faces. "They think we are weak," she shouted, her voice filled with passion. "They think we will stay quiet while they steal from us. But we are humans. We built civilizations, explored the unknown, and reached the stars. We deserve better than this." Her words resonated deeply, sparking similar protests around the world. In Chicago, Daniel Hayes, a former soldier turned community leader, organized rallies that drew thousands. He carried a sign that read, "Justice Beyond Earth," and his speeches inspired people to take action. "This isn't just about resources," he told the crowd. "It's about respect. Humanity has earned its place in the galaxy, and it's time we demand what's ours." As public outrage grew, so did pressure on world leaders. President William Grant, who had already been briefed by Captain Rachel Morgan, found himself at the center of a storm. His advisors urged caution, warning that confronting the council too aggressively could lead to conflict. But Grant knew he couldn't ignore the will of the people. During an emergency session of the United Nations, he delivered a powerful speech that was broadcast worldwide. "We are no longer bystanders in the galaxy," he declared, his tone firm yet calm. "We are equals, and we will fight for what is rightfully ours." Meanwhile, aboard the Solace *, Captain Rachel Morgan worked tirelessly to coordinate humanity's response. She communicated regularly with diplomats like Liam Carter, ensuring that everyone stayed aligned. Her priority was to gather as much evidence as possible to support humanity's case. Every file, every document, every piece of data mattered. She also reached out to allies within the Council, species who might sympathize with humanity's plight. One such ally was Ambassador Lyra, a soft-spoken aquatic being known for her fairness and integrity. Though cautious, Lyra promised to do what she could to help. The situation escalated further when footage of the stolen resources surfaced online. Someone, possibly a whistleblower within the Council, had leaked video showing crates marked with Earth's insignia being loaded onto alien ships. The images went viral, fueling even more anger. Protesters began chanting slogans like "No more lies" and "Equal rights for all." Social media platforms lit up with hashtags demanding accountability. Humanity's unity was undeniable, and for the first time, the galactic community began to take notice. But not everyone reacted positively. Some alien delegates dismissed the uproar as childish drama, claiming that humanity was overreacting. Councillor Zarnek, a towering insectoid ambassador, publicly criticized Earth's response. "Humans are emotional and impulsive," he sneered during a council meeting. "Their complaints are baseless, and their demands are unreasonable." His comments only fueled the fire, drawing sharp rebukes from both humans and sympathetic species. Amid the chaos, Liam Carter continued his investigation. He knew that exposing the conspiracy was just the beginning. The real challenge lay ahead, holding the guilty parties accountable. With the weight of humanity's hopes resting on his shoulders, Liam felt the pressure mounting. But he also felt something else, a glimmer of hope. For the first time, humanity wasn't alone. They had supporters, allies, and a growing movement determined to bring about change. As the days passed, tensions between Earth and the Galactic Council reached new heights. The stage was set for a showdown that would determine humanity's place in the galaxy. And though the outcome was uncertain, one thing was clear: humanity would not back down. The council chambers buzzed with tension as delegates from across the galaxy gathered for an emergency session. The room was a vast, circular space filled with holographic displays and representatives seated in floating pods that hovered above the floor. Normally, these meetings were orderly and calm, But today was different. Voices echoed off the walls as arguments broke out among the delegates. Humanity's accusations had thrown the council into chaos, and no one seemed able to agree on what should be done. Councillor Zarnak, a towering insectoid with shimmering green exoskeleton, stood at the center of the debate. His sharp mandibles clicked angrily as he addressed the assembly. "This is nothing more than a baseless attack by humans," he declared, his voice deep and guttural. "They are newcomers to the galactic stage, yet they act as if they own it. We cannot allow their reckless behavior to disrupt the balance we have worked so hard to maintain." His words drew murmurs of agreement from some delegates, particularly those who had long resented humanity's rapid rise. But others were less convinced. Ambassador Lyra, a graceful aquatic being encased in a water-filled containment suit, floated forward to counter him. Her soft, melodic voice carried authority, despite its gentle tone. "With respect, Councillor Zarnak, ignoring these allegations will only worsen the situation," she said. "If there is truth to humanity's claims, then we must address it openly and honestly. Transparency is the foundation of trust." Her statement sparked another wave of heated discussion. Some delegates accused her of siding with Earth, while others praised her for advocating fairness. The divide within the council grew wider with every passing moment. Meanwhile, Liam Carter watched silently from his pod, his mind racing. He knew this was humanity's chance to make its case, but he also understood how fragile the situation was. One wrong move could turn the entire galaxy against them. Back on Earth, President William Grant monitored the proceedings through live broadcasts streamed directly from the council hub. He sat in the Oval Office surrounded by advisors, each offering conflicting opinions on how to proceed. Some urged him to take a hardline stance, threatening retaliation if the council refused to act. Others advised patience, warning that aggression could isolate humanity further. After hours of deliberation, Grant made his decision. He instructed Liam to present the evidence during the session, ensuring that the council and the galaxy saw the truth for themselves. When Liam stepped forward to address the assembly, the room fell silent. All eyes turned to him, some curious, others hostile. Taking a deep breath, he began. "Honorable members of the council," he said, his voice steady despite the weight of the moment. "Humanity has always sought to contribute to the galactic community. We have shared our resources, our knowledge, and our spirit of exploration. But now we find ourselves victims of betrayal. Resources meant to benefit all have been stolen and sold for profit. This is not just an attack on Earth. It is an attack on the principles this council was built upon." He activated a holographic display, projecting the stolen data for everyone to see. Logs, shipment records, and transaction histories appeared in vivid detail. Gasps rippled through the chamber as delegates processed the information. Even those who had doubted humanity's claims struggled to deny the evidence before them. Councillor Zarnak's expression darkened, his antennae twitching in frustration. "This proves nothing," he snapped, though his voice lacked conviction. Ambassador Lyra, however, nodded thoughtfully. "These findings warrant further investigation," she said firmly. "We owe it to ourselves, and to humanity, to uncover the full truth." Her support gave Liam hope, but he knew the battle was far from over. As the session adjourned, alliances began to form. Some species sided with humanity, outraged by the corruption. Others clung to the status quo, unwilling to admit fault. In the days that followed, the council fractured further. Humanity's bold stand had ignited something unexpected, a reckoning. For years, the council had operated in secrecy, its decisions shrouded in mystery. Now cracks were beginning to show, and the galaxy held its breath, waiting to see what would happen next. Liam Carter's life became a whirlwind after his presentation to the Galactic Council. While some delegates praised his courage, others viewed him as a threat. He quickly realized that exposing the conspiracy had put a target on his back. One evening, as he returned to his quarters aboard the council hub, he noticed something strange. The door to his room was slightly ajar, and the lights inside were off. His heart raced as he cautiously stepped inside. Papers were scattered across the floor, drawers had been pulled out, and his personal terminal was left open, its screen flickering. Someone had broken in. They hadn't just rummaged through his belongings. They were looking for something specific. Liam's mind immediately went to the encrypted files he had copied. Though he had already sent them to trusted allies, including Captain Rachel Morgan and President William Grant, he still kept a backup on a secure drive hidden in his quarters. Panic set in as he checked the hiding spot. Thankfully, the drive was still there, untouched. Whoever had searched his room hadn't found it. But this close call made one thing clear: he was being watched. Determined to uncover who was behind the break-in, Liam decided to reach out to Elena Torres, a journalist embedded within the Council's press corps. Elena was known for her sharp investigative skills and unyielding determination to expose the truth. She had covered countless scandals involving corrupt officials, and Liam hoped she could help him piece together what was happening. He arranged a secret meeting in a quiet corner of the hub's observation deck, where they could talk without being overheard. Elena listened intently as Liam explained the situation. Her dark eyes narrowed when he described the break-in and the stolen data. "This goes deeper than you think," she said, her voice low but firm. "If someone is willing to break into your quarters, they're desperate to cover their tracks. We need to dig deeper." Together, they began combing through fragments of encrypted data that Liam had salvaged from his investigation. It wasn't easy. Much of the information was heavily coded, but slowly patterns started to emerge. Their efforts paid off when they uncovered a list of names. Among them was Counselor Vex, a reptilian leader notorious for his disdain toward humans. Vex had long opposed humanity's inclusion in the Council, often dismissing Earth as a minor player unworthy of attention. His name appearing in connection with the stolen resources raised red flags. "He's involved," Elena whispered, pointing to a transaction log linking Vex to a series of illegal shipments. "But he's not working alone. Look at these other signatures. Some of them belong to high-ranking officials." The revelation shocked Liam. If Vex was part of a larger cable, then the corruption ran deeper than anyone had anticipated. Even worse, some of the names belonged to species humanity had considered allies. Trust, it seemed, was a fragile thing. As they continued their work, Liam couldn't shake the feeling that time was running out. Whoever was orchestrating this conspiracy wouldn't stop until they silenced him. And possibly Elena. For good. Despite the danger, Liam refused to back down. He knew that exposing the full extent of the corruption was the only way to protect humanity and restore justice. With Elena by his side, he vowed to keep pushing forward, no matter the cost. The galaxy was watching, and the stakes had never been higher. Fueled by anger and determination, humanity decided it was time to take a stand. Admiral Joseph Klein, a seasoned military leader known for his strategic brilliance, was tasked with leading the response. Under his command, a fleet of advanced warships moved into position near key trade routes controlled by the Galactic Council. These routes were vital for transporting resources across the galaxy, and humanity's presence sent a clear message. They were no longer willing to be pushed around. The fleet's deployment was officially labeled as a defensive measure, but everyone knew it was more than that. The ships, sleek and powerful, bristled with cutting-edge weapons and technology. Their engines glowed faintly against the blackness of space, a silent reminder of humanity's strength. News of the maneuver spread quickly, sparking reactions across the galaxy. Some alien species saw it as an act of aggression, while others quietly admired humanity's boldness. For the first time in history, humans were taking control of their destiny. Back on Earth, President William Grant addressed the global population in a live broadcast. Standing behind a podium adorned with the United Nations emblem, he spoke with unwavering resolve. "We are not here to start a war," he said, his voice steady and commanding. "But we will not tolerate exploitation or betrayal. Humanity has earned its place among the stars, and we will defend our rights with every tool at our disposal." His words resonated deeply, uniting people across continents. Protests continued, but now they carried a new sense of purpose. Humanity was ready to fight, not out of hatred, but out of necessity. Within the council chambers, the atmosphere grew tense. Delegates debated fiercely over how to respond to humanity's actions. Councillor Zarnak argued that the fleet's positioning was a direct threat to galactic stability. "They are challenging us openly," he growled, slamming his fist on the table. "If we do not act decisively, other species will follow their example. Order will collapse." Others, like Ambassador Lyra, urged caution. "Humanity feels cornered," she said softly. "Their actions are a cry for help, not an invitation to conflict. We must address their grievances before it is too late." Despite the arguments, one thing was certain. Humanity's move had shifted the balance of power. Even species that had once dismissed Earth as insignificant now paid close attention. Liam Carter watched the unfolding events from the council hub, his heart pounding with a mix of pride and anxiety. He knew that Admiral Klein's fleet was a gamble. If the council chose to retaliate, it could lead to a devastating war. But if they backed down, it would mark a turning point in humanity's relationship with the galaxy. Meanwhile, aboard the Solace Captain Rachel Morgan coordinated closely with Admiral Klein. She acted as a liaison between the fleet and Earth's leadership, ensuring that communication remained open. Her role was critical, as any misstep could escalate tensions further. "Stay focused," she told her crew during a briefing. "Our goal is to protect humanity's interests without provoking unnecessary violence. This isn't just about winning. It's about proving we belong here." As days passed, the standoff intensified. Alien traders began rerouting shipments to avoid areas patrolled by humanity's fleet. Economic disruptions rippled through the galaxy, adding pressure on the council to find a solution. Behind closed doors, secret meetings took place. Some delegates explored the possibility of negotiating with humanity, while others plotted ways to undermine their position. Trust eroded rapidly, and alliances began to shift. For Liam, the situation felt surreal. What had started as a simple investigation had spiraled into a galactic crisis. Yet, amid the chaos, he found hope. Humanity was no longer alone. Other marginalized species, inspired by Earth's defiance, began reaching out, offering support. Together, they formed a loose coalition, united by a shared desire for fairness and equality. The galaxy was changing, and humanity was at the center of it all. The tension reached its peak during an emergency session of the Galactic Council. The chamber was packed, with every delegate present, their expressions ranging from anger to fear. Humanity's fleet still loomed near critical trade routes, and the galaxy held its breath, waiting to see what would happen next. Liam Carter stood at the center of it all, his hands trembling slightly as he prepared to speak. This was the moment he had been working toward, the chance to expose the truth and demand justice. When the council chair called for order, the room fell silent. All eyes turned to Liam as he stepped forward. His voice was calm but firm as he began. "Honorable members of the council, humanity has come here today not to accuse, but to reveal the truth." He activated a holographic display, projecting files and images into the air. The evidence was undeniable. Shipment logs, transaction records, and even private communications between corrupt officials. Each piece of data painted a clear picture of betrayal. Gasps echoed through the chamber as delegates processed what they were seeing. Some leaned forward in disbelief, while others exchanged nervous glances. Councillor Zarnak was the first to react. "This is outrageous," he bellowed, his sharp mandibles clicking furiously. "These so-called evidence are fabrications designed to discredit the council and weaken our authority." His outburst drew murmurs of agreement from a few delegates, but many remained silent, clearly troubled by what they had just witnessed. Ambassador Lyra floated forward, her soft voice cutting through the rising tension. "Councillor Zarnak, we cannot ignore this," she said. "If even a fraction of these claims are true, Then we have failed in our duty to uphold fairness and transparency." Her words carried weight, and several delegates nodded in agreement. For the first time, cracks began to form in the Council's united front. Liam pressed on, pointing to specific names and transactions. These records show that resources stolen from Earth were funneled into black market operations across the galaxy. And these individuals. He highlighted the names of Councillor Vex and several other high-ranking officials, were directly involved. The room erupted into chaos. Accusations flew back and forth, and some delegates demanded immediate investigations, while others tried to defend those implicated. Councillor Vex, the reptilian leader known for his disdain toward humans, rose to his feet. His scales shimmered with anger as he glared at Liam. "This is nothing more than slander," he hissed. "You think you can destroy reputations with baseless accusations. Humanity has always sought to undermine us." But his words lacked conviction. Several delegates whispered among themselves, clearly skeptical of his denial. Elena Torres, who had secretly attended the session disguised as part of the press corps, watched from the sidelines. She had played a crucial role in helping Liam gather the evidence, and now she saw the impact of their work. The council was unraveling before their eyes, divided by suspicion and fear. Some species began questioning their own leaders, while others quietly considered siding with humanity. As the debate raged on, Liam felt a mix of triumph and unease. He had exposed the corruption, but the fallout was far from over. Trust within the council had been shattered, and rebuilding it would take time. Still, one thing was certain: humanity's voice could no longer be ignored. The galaxy was watching, and the balance of power was shifting. When the session finally adjourned, Liam returned to his quarters, exhausted but hopeful. He knew the fight wasn't over, but for the first time, he felt a sense of progress. Humanity had taken a stand, and the council could no longer pretend everything was fine. The truth had been revealed, and the galaxy would never be the same. Recognizing the need for support, humanity began reaching out to other species who had suffered under the council's corrupt practices. Many of these groups had long been ignored or exploited, their voices drowned out by the powerful factions that controlled the galaxy. Among them were the Aven, a nomadic people who traveled in massive ships, searching for new homes after their planets were destroyed by resource wars fueled by greed. The Aven had little trust in the Council, but saw humanity's fight as an opportunity to demand change. Liam Carter played a key role in building these alliances. He met with Aven leaders aboard their flagship, a sprawling vessel filled with intricate carvings and glowing crystals. The air smelled faintly of metal and smoke, and the hum of machinery echoed through the halls. The Aven Elder, a tall figure with shimmering silver skin, listened carefully as Liam explained the situation. "We have faced similar betrayals," the Elder said, his voice deep and resonant. "If your cause is just, we will stand with you." Another group eager to join was the Krill, a peaceful species known for their love of art and philosophy. Though they rarely involved themselves in galactic politics, the Krill had grown tired of being overlooked. Their leader, a soft-spoken individual named Syra, agreed to lend her support. "The Council has forgotten what it means to serve all beings," she said during a meeting aboard the Solace Asterisk. "Perhaps together, we can remind them." With these allies by their side, humanity formed the Coalition for Equality. Its members pledged to work together to challenge corruption and ensure fairness for all species. The Coalition's formation sent shockwaves through the galaxy. For the first time, marginalized groups had a united voice, and their combined strength could not be ignored. Even some alien delegates within the Council began questioning their loyalty, torn between supporting the status quo and joining the growing movement for change. Back on Earth, President William Grant addressed the Coalition in a global broadcast. Standing before a backdrop of Earth's blue oceans and swirling clouds, he spoke with conviction. "This is not just about humanity," he said. "It is about every species that has been wronged, every voice that has been silenced. Together, We will create a future where justice prevails." His words inspired hope, uniting people across galaxies in a shared vision of equality. Meanwhile, internal divisions within the council worsened. Some delegates accused others of secretly supporting the coalition, while others demanded immediate action to crush the uprising. Councillor Zarnak grew increasingly frustrated, his once commanding presence now overshadowed by doubt and fear. Ambassador Lyra, however, emerged as a voice of reason. She worked tirelessly to bridge the gap between the council and the coalition, believing that compromise was still possible. As alliances solidified, Admiral Joseph Klein prepared the fleet for whatever might come next. Though the coalition sought peace, they were ready to defend themselves if necessary. The ships remained stationed near critical trade routes, a constant reminder of humanity's resolve. Captain Rachel Morgan coordinated closely with coalition leaders, ensuring that everyone stayed aligned. "Unity is our greatest weapon," she told her crew. "Together, we can achieve what none of us could alone." For Liam, the progress was both exhilarating and daunting. What had started as a personal mission had grown into something far greater than he ever imagined. Humanity was no longer fighting alone. They were part of a movement that spanned stars and species. The galaxy was changing, and though challenges lay ahead, there was hope. A brighter future seemed possible, one where justice and equality reigned supreme. The fragile peace shattered when a rogue faction within the Galactic Council launched an unprovoked attack on one of humanity's outer colonies. The colony, located on a distant moon called Eris 7, was small but vital, serving as a hub for scientific research and resource extraction. Early one morning, alarms blared as alien ships descended from the sky, their weapons blazing. Buildings crumbled, fires spread, and panic engulfed the settlers. By the time the attack ended, dozens of lives had been lost, and much of the colony lay in ruins. News of the assault reached Earth within hours, sparking outrage across the planet. Images of the destruction flooded media outlets, showing burned-out structures and families fleeing in terror. Protests erupted once again, with chants of "No more silence" and "Justice now" echoing through the streets. President William Grant addressed the nation in an emergency broadcast, his face grim but resolute. "This was not just an attack on Eris 7, he declared. "It was an attack on all of humanity. We will not stand idly by while our people are harmed." Admiral Joseph Klein wasted no time responding. Under his command, the fleet mobilized, heading toward the edge of the Andromeda sector, where the rogue faction's forces were regrouping. The coalition's allies, including the Avon and the Krill, joined the effort, their ships forming a united armada. Though outnumbered, humanity's advanced technology and strategic planning gave them an edge. Captain Rachel Morgan coordinated closely with Admiral Klein, ensuring that every ship worked together seamlessly. "We fight not just for ourselves, but for every species that has suffered under injustice," she reminded her crew before the battle began. The confrontation took place near a massive asteroid field, its jagged rocks casting long shadows across space. As the two sides clashed, explosions lit up the darkness, sending shockwaves rippling through the void. Humanity's ships darted between asteroids, using their agility to outmaneuver the enemy. Laser fire streaked across the battlefield, and debris from destroyed vessels floated silently in the aftermath. Despite being outnumbered, Admiral Klein's leadership turned the tide. His forces targeted the enemy's supply lines, crippling their ability to continue the fight. Back at the council chambers, chaos reigned as delegates argued over how to respond. Some condemned the attack on Eris 7, calling it a violation of galactic law. Others tried to distance themselves from the rogue faction, claiming they had no knowledge of the plan. Ambassador Lyra urged the council to take immediate action, warning that inaction would only deepen the divide. "If we do not address this violence, trust will be lost forever," she said, her voice firm yet pleading. Councillor Zarnak, however, accused humanity of provoking the attack, further fueling tensions. When the dust settled, humanity's fleet emerged victorious. The rogue faction's forces retreated, leaving behind damaged ships and scattered remnants of their fleet. The victory was bittersweet. Eris 7 had been devastated, and the loss of life weighed heavily on everyone. But it also proved something crucial. Humanity could hold its own against even the most powerful adversaries. As news of the triumph spread, morale soared. People on Earth celebrated, hailing Admiral Klein and his crew as heroes. Within the coalition, alliances grew stronger, with more species pledging their support. Liam Carter watched the events unfold from the Council hub, feeling a mix of pride and sorrow. The road ahead would still be difficult, but humanity had shown the galaxy that it would not back down. The fight for justice was far from over, but hope burned brighter than ever.